And we're back with day 29. We've been meditating to music. We've been using music to meditate too. And with the use of music comes a lot of responsibility. And it's a very serious matter. No, not really. But I like meditating to music. I don't know about you. Now, I meditate a little differently to music. If you're new, welcome to the group. I'm Rob, your faithful admin. And what I'm finishing up here is a 30-day meditation challenge where we meditate daily. In this particular meditation challenge that I've coined the 30-day journey into sound, we are using music to meditate to. And when we use music, I use it perhaps a little bit differently than a lot of meditators. Sometimes you put music on in the background and you want to just kind of, have it as a background sound. But when I'm using music here in this meditation, I'm using it as an object of focus so that I completely engage my hearing, my listening, to the exclusion of all other things. So, what we're dealing here with is a human life, a human being. And human beings have awareness. And what we are aware of depends on you. Depends on who you are and who you've been and where you've been. But a lot of it depends on our conditioning. The conditioning we've received since we were conceived in the womb. Thy womb. Well, I won't go there. But, yes, so we're born into a world such as this. And the world is great. It's got its good stuff, it's got its bad stuff. We all know. But, there's a lot of beauty in it, and there's a lot of horror in it. What kind of world have we been born into? And why have we been born here? Gosh, darn it. Well, I don't know about you, but I came here to party. No, life can be a party if you meditate. Because when you meditate, you take control. You take control of your awareness, what you are aware of. You learn that you can move your attention around. And we can move our attention around to things that we prefer over things that we don't prefer, right? So, what most people experience is that their awareness or their attention is stuck. And they feel as if they cannot move it around. And so this is the problem that we face as human beings, because we're born into a world that we largely take on. We are influenced by. Therefore, we become a member of society. And, whether we like it or not, most of us are just walking around with the societal mind, the conditioning that we've accrued since day one, wherever you were born. And I talk about this a lot because it's important. We're seeking to extract, for lack of a better word, our attention from the automaticity of its habitual condition. Imagine your mind like a design, like a shape, like a drawing. And if I was to draw a typical mind, well, I don't have a pen around, but it would look like like a mass of chaos. Imagine as if you have a beehive and it's just buzzing all around. And for most people, this is their experience. Fleeting from one thought to another, from one sense to another, from one distraction to another. And we go about our lives in this way. So, if you're interested in meditation, you're someone who's come to meditation to make a change, to improve the condition of the mind. It's no different from any other practice. It takes a certain degree of training, just as if you were to, say, put out a goal of weight loss, or I want to lose fat or something like this. You got to go to the gym. You got to do the training. You got to work out consistently. And then you'll make, hopefully, the changes of your lifestyle that also accompany this weight loss goal, for example. So meditation is no different. When we sit down to meditate, well, we first must seek a qualified instructor. It's like a personal trainer. If you don't know how to work out, then you're just going to be kind of wasting your time. Well, I wouldn't say you're going to be wasting your time, but you're going to be taking your time, taking a longer time to get to where you want to go. Whether you're in the gym or whether you're in the ashram, it's important to have a qualified instructor. Someone who's been there. Someone who knows what they're doing. Someone who can show you what to do. And shorten the length of time it takes to learn this awesome art form we call meditation. What meditation really is a word. It's an English word that we apply to the practice of sitting still, of quieting the mind, so that we experience or perhaps discover what's beyond. What's beyond the veil? What's beyond this experience that we've kind of, well, this is it. This is life. Well, maybe for some of us. For others, perhaps we don't quite just accept things so easily, do we? We want to make a change. We want to know. We want to experience what's beyond this limited mind. And so we seek and we go and we travel along the path and we discover meditation. And so here we are. We're ready to meditate. I could go on all day. You guys know. So, what to say? You know, we're down to the last 2 days here of the 30-day meditation challenge, and I just want to thank everybody for the support, for joining in every day, for leaving comments. You guys are great, and just wanted to give you an update as to what's going on. I got a lot going on behind the scenes of plans to bring more coaching, more courses, more options, more 30-day challenges to you guys. One of the things I'm working on right now, and it's probably my priority, is a video course on the 5 steps to stillness. This is the meditation technique that I normally do and that I recommend. The 5 steps to stillness, briefly, involves what's called single-pointed mind. Single-pointed mind concentration. I call this technique, the 5 steps to stillness, involves 5 steps. What do you know? And it's designed to bring you from concentration to consciousness through 5 steps of attention. Beginning with attention, we concentrate on what's called a Shri Yantra. And I'm a big fan of the Shri Yantra. These are available, by the way, for download. If you're new to the group and if you haven't heard me say it for the 100th time, these are available for download at the top of the group in the announcements section, as is the music that we'll be meditating to shortly. Now, a yantra is very interesting in that it, similar to the music, it exists independent of anything that we do. Meaning, it's just there. It's an image. You don't have to try hard to see it. It's right there. And what we do with the yantra is we stare at the tiny little dot in the center, and as step 1 of the 5 steps to stillness, we use that to warm up our concentration ability. And then we have steps 2, 3, and 4, where we focus on these 3 chakras, the navel chakra, the heart chakra, and the third eye chakra. And step 5 is no focus, no doing, entering into the meditative state in a surrender up to consciousness. So through these 5 steps, you will learn how to go from concentration to consciousness. So I'm excited. I've started to do some test footage for the course. And the course is going to be nice. It's going to be a good course. And it will be priced accordingly. But with it, there'll be some coaching programs that go along with it. There'll be a separate Facebook group. All this really cool stuff, man. I'm so excited about it. It's been in the works for a while, but I just had to get off my lazy butt and get started with it. But anyway, back to the music. So we're finishing up on this musical meditation. This was sort of just a different offering for the group, where I wanted to show a different technique that, because for most of the 30-day meditation challenges in the past, I've shown the 5 steps to stillness technique, or at least a derivative thereof. But I feel like the meditation to music is a very easy way for most people to meditate, because it just involves sitting and listening to music. Now, of course, it involves more than that, but, we don't want to steer you away right at the beginning. There's really 2 things going on when I sit down to meditate. The first thing is stillness, a progressive movement towards stillness. And when you become more and more still, there is a settling down that occurs, and even stillness itself has a momentum. Kind of like movement has a momentum, where it just keeps wanting to move. Stillness has a gradual momentum. It's kind of like, I equate it to the pendulum swing. When you have a swinging pendulum, and I don't know if I have anything that will kind of, here's just something out of my junk drawer here. Let's say this is a pendulum. As it slows down, imagine this is your mind. And as it reaches the center, less and less movement, and then all of a sudden, boom, stillness. So the idea is that we are becoming still and simultaneously surrendering, which is a process of letting go of the self, letting go of this separate self, which begins first with the concept or idea or feeling of, what do we normally experience as a separate self? This is typically an experience of being in the body. It's technically an experience that we have when our attention is stuck in the body, stuck in the senses, stuck in the nervous system, stuck in the thoughts even, which is of the mind. The mind-body are really one. And so simultaneously there's a process of becoming still, and there's also a process of letting go. Because without the second half, without the surrender, without the letting go, you're kind of stuck. You can become as still as you want, but unless, like, I could become totally still and be totally contracted at the same time. Squeeze! The opposite of that is letting go, relaxation. And I like to equate it to a fist opening up. You can squeeze your fist really hard, and then you can open up and let it go. So most of the time we are contracting our energy. And everything that we know is an energetic contraction. Even our thoughts are a form of contraction. Have you ever noticed when you get into the meditative state, there's just this opening, there's just expansion. The opposite of contraction is expansion. And the premise or idea behind both contraction and expansion is fear and love. So when we fear, we contract, we block, we shield up, we cower, we try to avoid. But in love, we open up, we expand, we embrace, we allow. And so, obviously, there are times when we want to block, when we want to shield up, when we want to perhaps not allow something into our energy field. Won't go too far into this, but you guys know it. This is not that abstract. When you're walking down a part of the area of the wrong side of town, you probably shouldn't walk around with all your lights on. You probably shouldn't, open up too much there. But then again, why are you walking on the wrong side of town? But you get the idea. There's a time and there's a place. And in meditation, this is the time to open up. This is the time to love. This is the time to not be contracted. But what we'll notice is that the contraction is another habit. It's another habit of our mind, body, energy, and emotions. Because we're so used to being contracted out of fear. And it's not as if we're walking around in some sort of blatant fear of others or the world or what's going to happen or anything like that. But there's just this low grade. Obviously, there's a certain level of fear when we're in a body because we know that this body is vulnerable. It's vulnerable to death. It's vulnerable to that speeding car going by. It's vulnerable to all sorts of things. And so, in this body, in this dimension, it's not that we can ever do totally away with fear. There's a lot of la-la, woo-woo, BS out there that will tell you everything's love and light and you should just walk around in a state of, complete openness all the time. That's just not the case. As an intelligent person, we need to have both sides. We need to have the ability to make a fist, but we also need to have the ability to give a hug. We have to have both sides because we live in a world of duality. Whether we like it or not, in this dimension, this is a dimension of duality. There's danger out there. But there's also a lot of greatness and beautiful experiences to be had. But when we sit down to meditate, what we seek to do, because it's probably more challenging to open up. It's probably more challenging to love. Now, there are places and times where we can exercise this loving surrender and open up. For example, when we're meeting somebody, it's good to notice and observe where we feel the contraction. Is it around our heart chakra? Is it around our third eye? Somewhere. Where do we feel that contraction? Perhaps when we're meeting someone new. Is this a tendency that we have out of an insecurity or a feeling of fear? Do we automatically open up and embrace when we meet someone or something new? So this is just something to observe when you're out and about. It's another mindfulness exercise, is to observe when we feel our energy contracting and when we feel our energy expanding. So, this is the object to consider during our meditation session. Why? What's the point of all this stuff? Why are we meditating? Why are we sitting here wasting our time listening to some wacko guy on the internet talk about wacko stuff? Well, you must be wackos. That's okay. You need to be a little bit crazy. You need to be a little bit wacky to overcome the mundane. The world is wacky. The world is crazy. So, hello. What we're doing here is we are transcending the limited self. The body, in all of its glory, beauty, and pleasure, is a limitation. The brain is a limitation. The senses are limited. In that they're limited in what we can experience and perceive. So perhaps you're interested in knowing what's beyond, what life has to offer. Is there more to life than just this surface, this physicality, this material realm? And of course there is. I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to tell you and remind you that we live in a multi-dimensional creation. We are multi-dimensional beings. But gosh darn it, Rob, why do I just feel so non-multi-dimensional and so limited? Well, I don't know. Why do you? We all go through times of limitation and feeling as though we're just limited, but it's really just the thoughts in our head. Imagine the thoughts. The thoughts are just languages, forms, structures, geometric shapes. Do they really have any meaning? Or have we ascribed meaning to them? To get beyond thought takes a little bit of bravery. We need to have some faith. And perhaps listen to the wacky guy on the internet saying that you can do it, you can get beyond your thoughts. So it's a process of extraction. Who are we? What are we? What do we realize in meditation? We realize that we are awareness at our core, at our essence. Now, what's the difference between consciousness and awareness? Well, not a whole lot. These are just words. If I could differentiate them slightly, I would say that consciousness is what everything is made up of. Consciousness, it's hard to describe it. But we can maybe understand what awareness is a little bit more. I would say awareness is more of an individual experience. Again, I'm just trying to define these terms so that we can understand them and then go beyond them. So, awareness is a discovery we make in meditation when we can get beyond the doing, when we can get beyond the seeking, when we can get beyond the active, willful part of our mind. And then we're breaking it down one more section further into something called attention. And attention is our willful, directed awareness. So you can see how it's sort of like a step down: consciousness, awareness, attention. And I equate these three things to concentration, meditation, and samadhi. When we talk about concentration, what are we concentrating? We're concentrating our attention, our ability to direct our perception, our awareness onto something in a willful manner. This is attention. Holding your attention on that object of focus is concentration. So we must, in my opinion, achieve concentration before we can achieve meditation. Now, if you're lucky, you can maybe skip a step, but let's face it, who among us is so lucky to have that ability? And in fact, there probably is no luck. There's karma. And if you're jumping into a meditative state like that, perhaps you've trained before. Perhaps in past lives, or perhaps you've grown up around meditators. Yeah, there's all sorts of possibilities. I'm not going to rule any one of them out. But for most of us, it's important to focus on a concentration effort in the beginning. What this will do is stabilize your attention into a steady stream. This is concentration. Once you can achieve concentration for a prolonged period of time, then what you're able to do is then flip it. And because you're also surrendering simultaneously and you're becoming still, prolonged periods of concentration become meditation. Now, there's no telling when that will happen, but it's an absolute prerequisite, because what we're really doing in concentration is we're stilling the mind on one thing. The mind needs to become still, because your attention is who you are. And if you want to realize who you are even beyond your attention, awareness, consciousness, then we first must get a hold of who we are. Now, how can we hold who we are? If I'm this and I'm that, then, oh my God, I'm confused. At a certain point, we can only discuss so much, because meditation is beyond words. It's beyond thought. The state of meditation is a state of non-doing. So, in the beginning, concentration is a state of doing. These are the steps. The stages, the phases. Yes, thank you. I'll be here all week. Well, not quite. Yes. So, we can talk about it all day. Guys want to talk about it all day? Of course you don't. You got other things to do. You got places to be, people to see. and as do I. So we're going to get to the meditation portion, which is really where the learning happens. I could talk all day about how to swim or how to ride a bike. And I could give you all the explanations and all the details about how to balance and how it works and how to tread water, swim, and all that good stuff. But unless you jump in, unless you hop on that bike, you're never gonna know from your own experience. You gotta learn from your own experience. You gotta learn by doing. And then not doing, right? So we go from doing to not doing to totally screwing up. No. From doing to not doing. And then what happens after that? Well, I can't tell you, my friends. That's the secret. That's the secret of life. When we merge back like a drop of water into the ocean, and we become the ocean. We become the pot. As Bruce Lee once said, we're like water. We take the shape of the object. You become the teacup. You become the pot. Great little video interview of Bruce Lee. Love Bruce Lee. Come on, who doesn't love Bruce Lee? He's the man. He's the myth, and he's also the legend. But, so we go from attention to awareness. Oh my God, awareness. And then we go to consciousness. Oh! So, but this is a gradual process. Heck, you may never get to consciousness, but it's okay. What is consciousness anyway? And why do I need to get there? I'm already there, man. It's like all right here, right? Just need to get out of the way. Just need to shut the F up and get to the meditation. That's what I need to do. Been talking so long, my Bluetooth speaker shut off. You guys are great. You guys just, I appreciate you so much. Listening to me rant and rave all day long. We're gonna melt. We're gonna dissolve, my friends. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. Here we go. Now, in order to melt and dissolve, you gotta let go. You gotta surrender. You gotta forget. Forget yourself, right? That's my motto. Forget yourself. Yeah. Here we go. Y'all know what to do. I want you to really push it this time. Only the music exists. Keep your focus on the music. Don't let it drift for a second. Keep letting go of the familiar. Become neutral. So what happens when the music's over? When the music's over, turn out the light. No. Thank you. You don't have to give credit to the music. Of course, you come on, you see this pretty face every day and you feel great. But I have to give credit to the music. The music is what's giving us this beautiful experience, and it is special music. This music was developed by 3 students of my teacher, who was an enlightened master. Rama, Dr. Frederick Lenz. Look him up. And the music is available free for download at the top of the group. And in the announcements section, if you go to the announcements, there's 2 announcements. One of them is the Sri Yantra. The other one is the music. You can download. This album is called Enlightenment. And so you can continue meditating to music even after this is all over. So there you have it, my friends. It is over for today. Thank you again for joining me, and hope you're doing well out there. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care.